Hey, Brad Castro here from GreatOptionTradingStrategies.com. The interesting thing about working from home is that you often see a much different side of life than you otherwise would. I'm not talking about the obvious benefits like every day being casual Friday, or the absence of office politics, or the borderline smug feeling I get after I drop my second grader off at his school and I zip back home in the opposite direction of the morning rush hour commutes. I'm just talking about the weird stuff you see in your own neighborhood when most people are either at work or at school. Like what happened one day when I was composing an email that argued that despite all our continued economic problems and nervousness, maybe the current investing climate was actually pretty healthy. Now, I probably shouldn't even tell this story since it's not particularly flattering, but it does make a useful point for both traders and investors. So, here goes. So, as I was typing the aforementioned email, I started hearing these weird shrieks or howls outside. I assumed it was a small yappy dog, either a nearby neighbor's or else one from down the street somewhere that had gotten out of the house or the yard. The sounds stopped, but because our own small, yappy, indoor dog was acting so jittery, I decided to investigate. Now, we live on a corner lot, and when I eased myself out the front door, the only thing I saw was a woman walking by herself up our side street. Nothing unusual there. Oh well, I thought, and I went back inside. But it wasn't 30 seconds later before I heard the shrieking again. I immediately peeked out through the blinds of my office window. This time, I could see the woman more clearly. She was the one making that crazy shrieking noise. And then I saw why. There were a couple of dogs running up and down and all over the street. These weren't small yappy dogs either. One was a German Shepherd mix, and the other looked to be a blue heeler. So the woman was freaking out because she thought she was about to be attacked. But here's the deal. The dogs weren't aggressive at all. Yes, they were zipping through yards and zigzagging in and out of the street, and jumping and circling all around her, and being a general pain in the ass. We don't quite live in a gated community if you haven't already guessed. But their tails were wagging, and while a canine's unbridled enthusiasm and complete lack of respect for personal space is exactly why obedience school was invented, this was no mauling. And yes, this really happened when I was writing the email on investing fear, which was pretty ironic because it reinforced the precise point I was making about how past trauma, economic in our case, can distort our perceptions of present reality. So did I go out and help this poor terrified neighbor? Did I go out and try to call off this super happy pack of wild animals? This is where the story gets a little unflattering, because the answer is a resounding no. As I said, I could clearly see that she was in zero danger, and now by this time a white car had pulled up and a couple of young good Samaritans had stopped to help. So now there was even less reason for me to get involved in someone else's misinterpretation of reality. Now there's a reason why I'm sharing all this with you, really. It's not to mock or judge a frightened person, or to show how heartless I am. In truth, if she really had been getting mauled out there, I would have quickly found something blunt and fought the damn dogs off myself if necessary, and probably gotten mauled in the process too. The reason I'm sharing this is just to point out how easy it is to get distracted by noise and other people's fears and worries and negative emotions. Besides, I had an email to write, damn it. Okay, I'm making light of it a little, but here's the bottom line and how it relates to trading and investing in us. When you discover the 2 or 3 things that are truly important at a core structural level to how you personally trade or invest, you will be wise to maintain a laser focus on those core principles. Everything else is a distraction. Everything else takes your attention off what you've discovered works for you. Everything else makes you less successful, not more. Personally, I don't worry about the economy. I don't pore over the minutes from the latest FOMC meeting. I don't worry about China's GDP. I don't stay awake nights pulling my hair out over currency devaluation or prospects of higher interest rates. I simply own the best businesses in the world and use options to sell insurance on them and continue acquiring them on the cheap. Companies like Procter & Gamble, who have been around so long they were paying dividends even before Columbus got here. Or Coca-Cola, the largest beverage, not just carbonated beverage, but the largest beverage company in the world, with a distribution network that spans more than 200 countries. 7 billion people can work up a lot of thirst. And they tend to eat a lot of snacks too, which is why I also invest in PepsiCo, the world's leading snack company. Here's the core of what I personally know, what I try to stay laser focused on. Number 1, people are inherently messy and need to clean up after themselves, and they need to eat and drink. Number 2, I can identify the businesses best positioned to help people meet those needs. And number 3, I can use options to generate high-yield income by insuring these high-quality companies when specific conditions are met. And I can use that high yield as current income, or I can use it to acquire ownership stakes in those businesses at prices impossible to get on the open market. That's it. Everything else is a distraction, as helpful as a crazy, happy, frightening, unpredictable dog loose in the street.